Join me for this one is Xavier's new Crawford family associate head coach, Isaac Chu. Coach, first of all, welcome to Cincinnati. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about the opportunity.
I don't want to waste any of your time, and I want to be able to provide value to our fans here. So I'm going to jump right into some questions. And I wanted you to first tell me, if you could, about some of the conversations you had with Coach Richard Pitino as he was asking you to make that move with him from New Mexico here to Xavier. What was that like, and what excited you about the opportunity to come to Xavier?
Obviously I've worked for Coach Patino now. This will be my 5th season. I was his first hire at New Mexico, and we had known each other for years. I mean, obviously he worked for his dad at Louisville. I was at Marquette when they were all in the Big East. We recruited against each other throughout the years. And so during our time in New Mexico, I thought, our bond grew stronger. We really leaned on each other a lot. When he mentioned he had an opportunity to come to Xavier, it was exciting because obviously we, want to get back towards this way, get a chance to be back in the Big East. And, it was something that I felt like was really good for me in my career. I felt like Xavier is one of the best jobs in the country, tremendous fan base, and I thought we could win here. And so that was big for both of us. I think he wanted to be at a basketball school, and I wanted to help him achieve, our saying we have same common goals.
You've been with him for a handful of years now, as you mentioned. I'm curious, in that time, what have you seen that really stands out to you about Richard Pitino as a leader?
Tremendous ability to navigate situations in terms of great with the players, understands the balance between, practice and games, in-game situations. But I think that he's remarkable in building confidence in his team. It's one of the best things I've seen as a coach in terms of he instills this tremendous amount of confidence in his players that allow them to play with so much offensive freedom that they're free. Like, they don't have to look over their shoulders. They don't have to think about, well, if I do this, am I coming out the game? Like, he creates an environment that is very fun, and he keeps everybody on their toes with in terms of his energy, his approach to the game, and how he sees the game.
I haven't had a chance to really work with you guys or even meet you guys yet, talk to you much, but talking to other coaches around the industry and agents and people who know you guys, everyone said that he has a lot of trust in you personally. You guys have a really strong bond and relationship there. How did that relationship evolve over time as you've gotten to know him?
I think it's time. I think before he hired me, I thought he had a great deal of respect for what I had done prior to working for him. I've been fortunate to have a lot of success with some different programs I've been a part of in terms of championships, tournament success, and recruiting and developing guys. And I thought there was a mutual respect between the both of us because he had similar success as an assistant. And I think our time working together, my job is to make his job easier. And so I wanted to make sure that he could be the best version of himself by I wanted to push myself to be good for him. I'm loyal to him because I think he's a really good person. I think that he's done some things for me personally that I really respect. And I just think he's always had my back, and I have tried to show him the same thing. And I think for me, it's just that we both, live and breathe it, and we both want the same result. It's all about winning at the end of the day, and we both want the same result. And I think that he instilled some trust in me by my work, and I think that he just respects it because I respect his work.
You mentioned getting back out to this part of the country, moving back closer to the East Coast. You've coached in the Big East before. We were mentioning before we started this podcast that you were at Marquette a while back when Buzz Williams was there. What about this conference? What are your thoughts on the Big East and how much it's changed in the 10 plus years since you last coached here?
So I've been in ACC, Big East, SEC, short time in the Big Ten. And I've been in the Big 12.
Yeah.
But the Big East to me is the best basketball conference. I think the conference tournament is amazing. I think the league is all about grit and toughness. I'm a Chicago kid through and through. And so the grit, the grind of the league is something that I've always admired. I love the passionate fan bases. I love that the brand itself is about basketball in the Big East. And that just excites me. You know what I mean? Like, I just really enjoy, the every school is in a city. It's an urban feel, and it's exciting. You know what I mean? So it's a league that I've always admired, always thought really highly of it.
You mentioned all those different conferences, Big 12, ACC, SEC. You have such a unique perspective, being that you've been in all the big time basketball conferences around the country. How different is it from league to league in terms of playing styles, and how much has that shaped your philosophies as a coach, having seen basically everything that there is at the high major level?
I do think all the leagues are different to a certain degree. But I think that in terms of what Coach and I have always talked about, Coach Patino and I have talked about, is recruiting good players means I always start at the top of character, toughness, and work ethic. And I think if you align those three with talent, so that's four, I think you typically get a good player. But this league, to me, is about those things. And so it's more about finding kids for the Big East that fit that mold. Some leagues are more free-flowing. Like when I was in the ACC at the time, it was a very free-flowing league, offensively and things of that nature. And so even when we left Marquette at the time, when I worked for Buzz and going to Virginia Tech, we had to adjust from being a grimy, tough. We were part of winning the last Big East that included, Louisville and, at the time, and, Syracuse at the time. So we went to Elite Eight that year. And then the transition to the ACC league is more wide open. So you have to adjust in terms of your personnel to how the league is. And so I don't think there's a blueprint I think there's more than one way to skin a cat. But I think for us and Coach Patino, we've always tried to do the same thing: character, toughness, work ethic. We want guys that's going to be in the gym. We want guys that love the game. We want guys that are going to appreciate the game. Because if we do that, because we're really big on development, we'll get to where we're supposed to get.
Yeah, you mentioned that. And when you're evaluating talent in the portal, I imagine it's more difficult probably to find out some of those specific things. What are some non-negotiables for you? Are there certain things that you say, I won't talk to a kid once I hear this about him or if I know this about them?
I think it's important to know if the kid works. And then everybody can say it, but we try to do a really good job in terms of fact check and research. I think if you look at our teams at New Mexico, every year we ascended. Back-to-back championships and things of that nature. But the one thing we thought we were really good at was developing. So you have to have guys that work. But also we try to recruit kids at the time that understood what winning was about. Okay? And we also did a good job of retention, which is hard in this climate. Now, in our first year here, we're going to try to stick to the same things about wanting to have guys that are workers and have good character and have toughness. The rest of the stuff we kind of have to, figure out as we go along, because we have a roster. Basically, we had one guy left on the roster. So we have to figure out how to create a roster first. But in that, we try to hit on the things that are important to us. Like I said before, character, toughness, and work ethic. And I think we've done that thus far.
Yeah, you mentioned the player development piece, and I think about the guards specifically that you guys have had: Donovan Dent, Jalen House, both high-level, big-time playmaking guards. Is there something specific about the way you guys evaluate that position or the way you guys use them within your system, or is it just that player development aspect? What's led to you guys having such dynamic playmakers at the point guard spot?
I think it's coach, to be honest with you. I think the way he approaches the game with his guards is unique. I think that I talked about how he gives them unwavering confidence. Jalen House, to me, I've known Jalen since he was 16. And Jalen playing for coach, he went to Arizona State first, and it was his style didn't always fit for them. That's not a knock on anyone. And you had to allow Jalen to be Jalen to get the most out of him. Let him He's going to play. He's going to play for both teams sometimes. He's going to play with his hair on fire. But if he's maxed out for you, you're going to get a great player. And that's what he did for Coach for 3 years, an all-league guy, MVP of the conference tournament. Just in every year he got better. Like it was the freedom Coach gave him with guardrails, but it was a constant development in his game about preaching him. Same thing with Donnie. Like, we put the ball in Donnie's hands because he's a lead in ball screens. And it was Coach that had the vision to say, hey, this is how we have to use Donnie. And his freshman year, like, he came in, he played behind Jalen House, so he got a chance to see things. His second year, he played with House. His third year, he was ready to take the reins. But we not only developed those two guys, JT Toppin was freshman year in our league. And JT Toppin, it was us in Tulsa. And obviously, he's a Big 12 player, but he had an unbelievable freshman year for us. We would develop Morris Daisy, who was all-league guy for us that came from Wichita State. Like, Nelly Jr. Joseph, went from averaging 9 points to 14 points a game for us. And, like, development for us across the board is so important because it allows us we try to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And it's hard in this day and age because everybody wants to get out of here so quickly. But I think it's the way we approach it day to day that allows us to do the development. Like, 'cause we're going to do development, skill development, or whatever it is in practice. Like, that's not something we just say, hey, you come in the gym and you get some shots up. It's more about what we do on a day-to-day basis and what Coach wants us doing because he knows how important it is.
And what I'm hearing you say about fit is interesting too, because I think a lot of people gave you guys a lot of praise as I was asking other coaching staffs and specifically out in your previous conference, like, what do you think about these guys? And a lot of people said they're really good at finding the right fit. They recruit for fit. Mm-hmm. And what I'm hearing from you is it's not just finding guys that fit your system, it's also fitting your system and finding the best ways for those guys to succeed with what you want to do. Is that right?
That's correct. Recruiting wise, we are pretty, I know this is a, kind of a simple thing to say, but we want guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot. But that is the lost art. So, we want guys that have some skill, but it gets back to finding the fit of, does the kid work? Does he love the game? Because if he loves the game and he works, like, even on his bad days, if he's competing and a hard worker, it just tends to work itself out over time. You know what I mean? I don't think we had the best players at New Mexico, but I thought we had the best group of guys at New Mexico because all our pieces to the puzzle kind of fit each other.
With that being said, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. I mean, you guys have had a pretty big week here on the recruiting front. Do you feel pretty good about where you're at with this current group? And do you feel like there's a lot more work to do still, or are you feeling like it's pretty settled right now?
I think things are slowing down. I do like where we currently are. There's still a lot of unknown because it's just what it is. Like,
sure.
But I think we feel good that we were able to solidify our roster some. Now we have to see what putting the pieces together in practice in June and things like that to kind of see how we can morph this thing together. I don't think that, I thought we did a good job as a staff of attacking our needs and trying to stick to what we always talked about. We want to have positional size and positional versatility. And I think that was important for us last season. One thing is that Coach is willing to change, and Coach Patino was willing to, again, I think he has great foresight. So I go back to the first year we won the championship against Jalen House's senior year. We went to the NCAA tournament, we played Clemson. A lot of people had us favored to beat Clemson, and I was like, man, and then we get to the game, and they were huge. They were so much bigger than us. And it factored in because we played three small guards that were great together, along with JT Toppin and Nelly Jr. Joseph. We had three guys under 6'3", 6'2" out there. And their length and size bothered us. Coach, right after the game, he said, we have got to get bigger. Like, that was his mindset, is that we have to get bigger. We went out in that spring and we got bigger at every position. And I think when we developed this group of guys, we tried to stay with the same format, positional size across the board. And so we like the pieces, the skill, and the size of the guys and the work ethic of the guys. Now we got to see how it comes together. So we are happy with it. Things have slowed down because now we have some guys that we have in terms of under scholarship. So, but we're always looking, always seeing we can tweak something and things of that nature.
All right, Coach, before we end this, I do have to ask you, what has been your experience or your intro to the Xavier fan base, if anything, yet? Have you had any interactions with the Xavier fans so far?
Other than like a bunch of followers on Twitter. But
that's where they can be the rowdiest, yes.
But it's been all positive. I mean, out in the community, obviously we're in the gym all day, so we're still in the hotel. So you go out to eat and you have Xavier gear on and, people speak so highly of the program, and I can tell there's beloved around here. And so that's you want to be at a place like that. It's a gift and a curse, because if people care, you're going to know it either way. So, but it's been unbelievable. So I've been happy with the, support and everything's been positive thus far, but I know how it gets, but we just need to do our part.
Definitely. Well, Coach, like I said at the start of this, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a busy week as you guys are trying to get everything rolling there, but this was awesome. And I know the fans are really going to appreciate it as well. So thank you.
All right. Thank you again.